the notion that the mainstream media is working with scientists to deceive Christians is a complex and multifaceted issue. To understand this phenomenon, it's essential to examine the underlying dynamics of play. Firstly, the media's primary goal is to attract and retain audiences, which translates to advertising revenue. In today's digital age, sensationalism and controversy often drive engagement, and the media may capitalize on these factors to boost their ratings. Scientists, on the other hand, are driven by a pursuit of knowledge and a desire to advance their respective fields. Their work is often grounded in empirical evidence and peer-reviewed research. However, the media's desire for sensationalism can sometimes lead to the misrepresentation or exaggeration of scientific findings. This can create a disconnect between the scientific community and the general public, particularly among Christians who may feel that their beliefs are being challenged or discredited. One area where this disconnect is evident is in the reporting of scientific discoveries that seem to contradict biblical teachings. For example, the theory of evolution is often presented as being in direct opposition to the biblical account of creation. While this is not necessarily the case, the media may portray the two as mutually exclusive, fueling a sense of conflict between science and faith. This can lead Christians to feel that scientists are actively working to undermine their beliefs, which is not necessarily true. In reality, many scientists are Christians themselves, and they see no inherent conflict between their faith and their work. However, the media's tendency to focus on controversy and disagreement can create the illusion that there is a unified effort among scientists to deceive or manipulate Christians. This perception is further exacerbated by the fact that some scientists and science communicators have been vocal in their criticism of religious beliefs, which can be perceived as an attack on Christianity as a whole. Another factor at play is the issue of trust and credibility. Many Christians may feel that the media and the scientific community are not trustworthy and that they are being lied to or misled. This can be due to a variety of factors, including a perceived bias against Christianity or a lack of understanding about the scientific method. As a result, some Christians may be more likely to accept alternative sources of information, such as conspiracy theories or pseudoscientific claims, which can further reinforce the notion that the mainstream media and scientists are working to deceive them. It's also worth noting that the media's portrayal of science and Christianity is not always accurate or nuanced. The media often relies on simplistic narratives and soundbites, which can oversimplify complex issues and create a false dichotomy between science and faith. This can lead to a lack of understanding and empathy between the two groups, which can further exacerbate the perception that the media and scientists are working to deceive Christians. In conclusion, the idea that the mainstream media is working with scientists to deceive Christians is a complex and multifaceted issue. While there may be some instances of misinformation or misrepresentation, it's essential to recognize that the media and scientists are not unified in their efforts to deceive or manipulate Christians. Rather, the media's desire for sensationalism and the scientific community's pursuit of knowledge can sometimes create a disconnect between the two groups. By promoting a more nuanced understanding of the issues at play and encouraging greater empathy and dialogue between scientists and Christians, we can work to break down these barriers and promote a more accurate and respectful representation of science and faith in the media. Ultimately, it's up to individuals to critically evaluate the information they consume and to seek out credible sources of information, rather than relying on simplistic narratives or conspiracy theories.